Hi guys, it's Bob from Greybeard Models again, and welcome back. Yeah, I've been away for a bit, and I thought it was about time we caught up with where we are with the Gecko, Katy Ambulance and the figures. So without further ado, let's get to the bench and see where we are. Well, the Katy Ambulance is coming on a treat. It's done some weathering and stuff on it. Got the hood on, that sort of thing, and yeah, got some really nice weathering. I'm quite happy with that. I've also put the bullet holes in the side of the ambulance there, in the scene in the film where one of the nurses gets shot. There's a whole spray of bullets that come from the Germans. So I've just put a load of little holes in there, and all the back's done. Right, just hold on 1 second. So inside the rear, pretty much got it in the formation that they had it in the film. So you got one of the bunks up, one bunk down. And they had the stretchers on the two upper bunks. They didn't have the mattresses that are provided in the kits, so they didn't have those. But yeah, so it's pretty much as it is in the film. I've just got to put a couple more packs in there. There was a couple of sort of army packs in there, so I've got to put those in there. But around the front we've got a lot of that's now all sorted out. Obviously, as you can see, we've got the decals on, the red crosses. God dear, talk about gibberish. Yeah, the red crosses I've actually painted on because I think they looked better than the decals, to be fair. So apart from the small ones here. But that's where we are with the actual ambulance itself. So here we have where I'm at with the figures. So we've got this is Tom Pugh, Mechanic Sergeant Major. I'm going to have him standing there by the front of the ambulance where the hood's up, and I'm going to put maybe a spanner or something in his hands, and there's also a part that's going to go in there. During the course of the film he complains about the water pump not working properly, so I'm going to put a representation of that in his hand. This is my figure of Sister Murdoch, and I managed to recarve her hair and that sort of thing, and I'm going to put probably a mug of tea or whatever in her hand. So I'm quite pleased in the way that's sort of come out. As you can see, these are all in undercoat at the moment. This is Van der Pol. This is the South African chap, and he's going to be carrying a knapsack, which I'm working on at the moment, which will be strung over his back, and also carrying a shovel in his left arm or left hand, as he's going off into the desert to do what you do in the desert when you take a shovel. And finally, this is going to be Captain Anson. Captain Anson is looking at a map, and I've got a 1/35 scale map that I'm going to use to put in his hands. So he's going to be standing there having a look at the map as well. So I've got those figures are all done now. They're all pretty much in the sort of setting that I want them. The next step is going to be to get them all painted, which is what I'm going to be doing over the next week or so. It's going to take some time, I think, and hopefully with a bit of luck it'll improve my figure painting skills. In the meantime, we'll get the ambulance finished, and we'll get it onto the diorama. So I've done the diorama base, and we'll just get that on the bench now. We'll be back in a second. So this is the diorama base that I'm going to use. Done some work on it. Still some work to do, obviously. It never seems to be completed, so there's some extra work to do. So the area of the desert that they were in, or they crossed, was a Kutara depression, and that was made up of quite rocky ground. So what I've done is I've got a selection of small stones and bits and pieces of rock there, but the next stage will be to get them painted. So we'll get them painted up and get some sort of colour continuity going on there. But yeah, it was a horrible piece of of land that they went over, and the ambulance will be sat in a position, and I'll just pull that over, something like that, with just bring a bit. So yeah, so the ambulance will be sat there, and the figures will be something like this. Obviously they're on their painting bases at the moment, but so you have to use a bit of imagination. Gonna have Captain Anson about there, and Nurse Murdoch about there, and Vanderpoel will be over on this side, in some sort of position there, where he's going off into the desert, and over here is where I'm going to have, like, where they're going to set up their cooking and whatnot. So the figures will be in that sort of configuration. Anyway, that's that. Just let me clear the bench a bit, and I'll come back to you. So this is something I've been working on. I know it's tiny, isn't it? So let's see if we can zoom in a bit and have a look at what we've got going on here. What I was been trying to replicate. I can zoom in, but it's keeping it in shot. What I've been trying to replicate is what they used to use during the desert campaign. How's that? That's a bit better. What they use is the old biscuit tins, where the army would provide the soldiers with these tins, and they would have, you know, sort of biscuits, meal type things in. So what they used to do out in the desert, they'd have one, say this one, and they'd fill this with sand, or put a load of sand in it and a load of petrol, and then set a light to it, and that would be your heat source. And then you get another one with a sort of wire handle that's been fabricated by somebody, and then you stick that on the top of there, put your food or your water in the top one, and you know, you boil that up. And being British, you know, British Army, you'd have a brew up and have a cup of tea, or you put your stew in there, or you know, your bully beef and all of that sort of stuff, and heat that up and make a sort of meal out of it. So you'd have a hot meal. But it's actually featured in the Ice Cold in Alex film. So I thought, right, what I need to do is sort of fabricate that. So I used some 0.1mm thick brass. It's a sort of brass material that I use in card, you know, card craft and that sort of thing. It's used for embossing, but it's a very, very thin brass material. It's really good. So I folded up the box section, soldered it all together. Same with this one, and then with this one I actually put a wire loop on it, and so that could be the one that has the top one, and this is your cooker part. What I'm going to do is probably end up putting some sand or something in there, once we set up the diorama off. Right, so anyway, been working on that as well. Well, that's where we are with the Gecko. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen. If you have, please leave a comment below. Really look forward to reading your comments. I really do appreciate them. That's it for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.